The clip you saw racing across your feed shows Mariah Carey, freshly handed the MTV Video Vanguard Award, side-eyeing the network and asking, "What in the Sam hell were you waiting for?" It looks like a live TV detonation, the kind of moment that sends social into a spiral and sparks think pieces before the credits roll. The popular belief is simple: diva gets the mic, diva snaps, and a historic night turns messy. But that reading is exactly what you were supposed to think at first glance. The truth is smarter, colder, and way more strategic. What you just watched wasn't a meltdown. It was message discipline, brand surgery, and catalog positioning, delivered with a wink. Tonight, we're unpacking the timing, the edit everyone is sharing, the money trail that follows a viral call-out, and how that one line rewrites a 35-year narrative in under 30 seconds. Here's the plan for this video. First, the viral context you think you know, then the cut everyone missed, then the career math, and why this joke that hit like a jab sells her next era. We'll map the players, MTV, CBS, Ariana's handoff, and show you how a 5-second quip becomes a months-long revenue engine. So let's start with the clip you've seen 100 times by now. Phone camera angle, crowd shrieking, Mariah accepts the moon person, and then she says the line, "What in the Sam hell were you waiting for?" Freeze the frame right there and it reads as pure confrontation, like she took a bow and threw a grenade. But zoom out even a little and the tone shifts. You can hear it in the cadence. It's half playful, half pointed, which is a very Mariah setting. She's been blending sugar and shade since dial-up. In the room, people laughed. It landed as a gag that still made a very real point. Her first VMA trophy arriving this late feels absurd. And that absurdity is the fuel. What the most viral versions do is trim the add-on. The smiling walk back, the "I'm kidding, I love you" rhythm that tells you she's in control. Remove the softening tag, and you get a thunderclap. Leave the tag in, and you get veteran timing. That's the first tell. If a moment is being sliced down to its sharpest edge, the goal is outrage and shares. The truth is she made the shareable version possible on purpose. She fed the algorithm exactly the sentence it would chew the hardest. But here's the part almost nobody is connecting. The timing wasn't emotional, it was commercial. Award shows are disappearing live events that still manufacture one invaluable commodity, cultural oxygen. You get 3 kinds of currency on that stage: eyeballs, headlines, and quotes, and Mariah harvested all 3 in a single beat. The night hands her a career capstone trophy, and she turns it into a launch pad. She reframes the story from "finally, a lifetime achievement" to "finally, you caught up." That flips the power dynamic. Now the network isn't benevolently blessing a legend, the legend is acknowledging a delayed delivery. It's subtle, but it matters. That tone shift lets her roll into the next sentence, thanking fans, hinting at new music, recentering the conversation on what's coming. If you think that wasn't coordinated, remember, stages like this are negotiated to the syllable. Producers want viral, artists want leverage, platforms want watch time, labels want pre-saves. A 5-word jab buys every stakeholder what they came for. The headline says meltdown, but the spreadsheet says mission accomplished. And that brings us to the most shocking point. The so-called meltdown doubles as a precision ad for Mariah's next era. When an icon teases new music, you need more than a press release to cut through. You need a moment. The "what were you waiting for" line does double duty. It's a hook for the clip economy and a reset button for her catalog. Overnight, people who haven't typed Mariah Carey into a search bar in years are Googling the line, clicking the acceptance speech, letting the performance autoplay, and tripping down an algorithmic hallway lined with her classic videos. That's not nostalgia, that's conversion. Streams spike, YouTube RPMs climb, TikTok drafts get seeded by fans who suddenly remember a bridge from a 20-year-old remix. And if a release is actually on deck, the timing is surgical. Awards show on a Sunday, trend curve through midweek, official announcements or pre-order links tucked into interviews by Thursday, DSP banner placements locked by Friday. The marketing funnel is built on one principle: own the week, and nothing owns a week like a spicy sentence that keeps getting re-uploaded with new caps lock. Now let's tackle the legacy angle, because this is where the reality really crushes the expectation. The casual watcher assumed the jab was vanity, like a superstar scolding a network for clout. But for 3 decades, Mariah was a chart-devouring, format-bending force who somehow never stood inside the VMA winner's circle. That mismatch became part of the subtext of her career. Huge voice, huge sales, not the network's favorite. Whether that's about MTV's evolving taste, the rap-pop pivot, or just timing, the narrative was stuck. So what did she do the minute she finally got the Lifetime trophy? She realigned the story in plain English. Not, "Thank you for recognizing me at last," but "What took you so long?" It's a surgical sentence. It preserves gratitude, injects accountability, and flips the brand story. MTV isn't crowning her, they're catching up to her. That matters for the next decade of retrospectives, museum exhibits, docuseries, and licensing deals. The line puts a headline on a history that the network can't rewrite later. Every feature package that rolls Mariah's highlight reel has to include the moment the icon publicly noted the delay. That's not shade, that's legacy management. Of course, the handoff mattered too. When Ariana Grande walks out to present and bows to Mariah, you're seeing a generational relay calibrated down to the facial expression. That isn't random star scheduling. It's a bridge. Ariana's fanbase is younger and rabid online. Mariah's is vast and mobilizes at will. Putting them on the same frame is an audience merge event. Ariana's gesture says, "I'm the student, here's the teacher." Mariah's quip says, "The class has been in session the whole time." That exchange lights up both communities without pitting them against each other. It also back-references pop culture lore. These two have traded notes for years, and Ariana has never hid the influence. You can practically feel the editors in post queuing up side-by-side comparisons on social. Whistle notes, styling echoes, visual motifs. That's free cross-promotion, but it's also continuity. The acceptance moment becomes not just about an award, but about a lineage. And when you pull a lineage into the frame, you multiply the clip's half-life. It stops being just, Mariah said a spicy thing, and becomes Pop's baton pass came with a punchline. That's how a 15-second beat turns into a weekend of duets, stitches, and theory threads. Let's add the broadcast chessboard, because that's the invisible hand pushing all of this. The show moved with a bigger footprint this year. Network simulcast plus streaming. And when you're airing live on a legacy network alongside the cable brand, you need a quote that plays twice. Once for the crowd that remembers fantasy, and once for the crowd that watches award show clips on their phones the next morning. Executives want a safe edge, memorable enough to trend, harmless enough to replay in promos. What were you waiting for? It's perfect. It's not profanity, it's not a direct accusation, but it slices like one. Ad buyers love that kind of clip. It delivers engagement without setting the building on fire. And it gives the show a post-event narrative that isn't just a winner's list. If you think that's accidental, look at how quickly the line propagated across official accounts and entertainment outlets. The infrastructure to amplify it was ready. That's because everyone in that building knows the game now. One clean sentence can outrun 10 performances in the attention economy. And if the star who delivers it is bulletproof enough to absorb a little faux backlash, even better. There's also a meta lesson here about the way we watch. The social feeds you live on don't show you moments. They show you edits. Whoever cuts the first version of a clip sets the tone for an entire day of conversation. In this case, the meltdown cut is the one that stripped the smile and the follow-up and presented the line as a swinging elbow. But the full room read was nods, laughter, and a knowing. Finally, the difference between those versions isn't just context, it's incentive. Rage travels faster. Outrage saves better. But that doesn't mean the artist lost control. It means the artist engineered a line that works both ways, sharp enough to rile the chopped-up share, warm enough to play as a joke in the full feed. That dual-use writing is reputational armor. If pushback gets loud, the longer clip is the parachute. If applause gets loud, the shorter clip is the jet fuel. Either way, the name Mariah Carey lives at the top of the Explore tab for 24 hours. Call it risky if you want. I call it advanced. And because we're drama drip, let's follow the value. When a legacy artist secures a headline at a major award show, the downstream revenue isn't theoretical. Catalog boosts show up inside a week. Old videos get resurfaced by the platform itself, playlists get rejiggered, and every millennial who still knows the choreography to a 1999 single is suddenly playing it while they make dinner. That's inventory. It feeds tour demand, merch refreshes, sync interest from brands that smell a Nostalgia Plus Now moment, and even catalog sales negotiations. The headline, First Ever VMA, is especially valuable because it writes copy for partners. The network finally caught up. Now rediscover the songs. Mariah doesn't need to win a news cycle for a day. She needs to reposition her archive for a generation that wasn't there the first time. The quip does it for her, and the award show does it at scale. The meltdown framing is just a free wrapper. So where does all this leave the myth of the diva explosion? Honestly, in the museum. The smarter story is an artist who knows exactly how to shape a narrative with a single sentence, then soften it with a smile so the moment remains mimetic, not messy. It's both a clapback and a cuddle, sharp enough to spark, safe enough to syndicate. The expectation was that Mariah let the mask slip, and scorched the network on their own stage. The reality is she performed an expert brand inversion. She let the network honor her and still made it feel like they were late to the party she's been hosting for decades. That's why the moment is sticky. It satisfies the drama-hungry timeline while quietly doing the real work, renewing interest, consolidating legacy, and pointing the traffic toward whatever comes next. Here's the last piece to watch in the weeks after the show. If you start seeing coordinated interviews, a polished cover story, a late-night couch appearance, maybe a carefully placed teaser about a documentary, or deluxe reissue, don't be surprised. That's what these moments are built to launch. And if you notice the platforms pushing her Essentials playlist, or if you see a sudden uptick in creators using a particular deep cut for a trend, that's textbook flywheel. The quote lit the match. The system does the rest. It's not chaos, it's choreography. And if you were expecting a meltdown, now you know why it looked like one. It was supposed to, for exactly long enough to make you click. Outro. What you witnessed on that stage wasn't an outburst. It was a masterclass. A single sentence, reframed decades of history, vaulted a legacy into the center of a brand new week, and opened a runway for whatever she's about to drop. That's the superior reality. The drama was packaging, the power was planning. If you want more moments decoded like this, where the headline says fire and the receipts say strategy, dive into our fresh celebrity tea playlist next. We've broken down how other icons turned messy into metrics, and how that playbook keeps winning. The story isn't over, it just moved to the next video.